In preparation for the upcoming season, I'm doing profiles on each one of our players to get a better sense of who they are and what they're going to bring to the Magic this upcoming season. This video is going to be on one of the splashiest acquisitions this offseason, not just for the Magic, but for the entire league. Desmond Bane. This is the Orlando Magic Nation, your source for all things Orlando Magic on YouTube. For Magic fans, by a Magic fan. I'm Edwin Valentin, and I want to thank you very much for clicking on this video and spending a little bit of time talking Magic with me. You got to do the normal YouTube thing, so hit that like, share this video, drop a comment below, and if you're one to do so, hit that subscribe so you don't miss out on any content that I produce, as well as joining the Orlando Magic Nation community. If you haven't seen any of my other player profiles, basically what I'm doing is a little bit of a scouting report. I go through a little bit of intel just to kind of see who they are and where they've been prior coming to the Magic. Then I go over their stats from last season. And finally, I go over the film just to ensure that what the stats are telling us makes sense. Let's start off with a little bit of intel on Desmond. Desmond Bane is a shooting guard, shoots predominantly with his right hand, 6'5", 215 pounds. He was born on June 25th, 1998 in Richmond, Indiana. He went to university at TCU in Texas, and he went all 4 years. So this isn't a guy that just swooped by in college. He stayed and did the whole thing. In his 141 games at college, he averaged just a little under 13 points, a little under 5 rebounds, and over 2 assists while adding over a stock per game. And with the 30th pick in the 2020 NBA draft, the Boston Celtics selected Desmond Bane. And then he ended up getting traded to Memphis, where he spent the first 5 seasons of his NBA career. In his 313 games with Memphis, he's averaged a little less than 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists per game, while adding, again, over a stock per game. The biggest draw for the Orlando Magic in trading for Desmond is his three-point shooting. So if you look there, over the course of his 5 years, his career average from three-point range is 41%. So as we all know, the Magic really struggled last season when it came to shooting the three. So they went out and got the guy that they were hoping to also not be such a negative on defense while bringing such a key assets that we need on offense. And then in the blockbuster trade to get Desmond Bane, the Orlando Magic gave up Cole Anthony, a fan favorite, KCP, the big acquisition from the previous offseason, 4 first-round picks and a pick swap. So we gave up the 2025, 2026, 2028, and 2030 picks, as well as a pick swap in 2029. So it was a pretty high price, but I think once you look at the video and see how he plays, he's going to be an excellent addition for the Magic this upcoming season and in the next few seasons. So if we go through his stats from last season, he played 69 games last year, averaged 32 minutes a game, over 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists per game, while including another 1.6 stocks per game. So last year actually was a down year for him shooting the three, as you see here. He only shot 39% from three. It's funny, but there's been seasons where he shot over 43% for the season. I think the only other thing to really notice from here is the 69 games played. This is also a little bit of a concern for the Magic as well, because he hasn't necessarily been an Iron Man. He's missed a good chunk of each one of his seasons. He's played over 70 games once so far in his 5 years. So let's hope that this year, with a new opportunity, he's able to stay healthier this year. That second line there in the traditional stats are his stats per 100 possessions. If we dig into the advanced stats, while he's on the court, his team last year had a 116.1 offensive rating and a 113.3 defensive rating for a net rating of a positive 2.8. So if you've watched a bunch of the other Magic player profiles, unfortunately, all the guys that were on the team last year, many of them had negative net ratings because our offense struggled so much last year. So to see anybody with a high offensive rating, that's great, because again, that's not a personal stat, that's a stat for the entire team. But that just shows that they can have an impact positively on the offense. If we look, the usage was 22.7%. That might be something that will drop a little bit this year, especially now with Paolo and Franz. Last year, he played with Jared Jackson Jr. and Ja Morant, but Ja Morant was injured many games last year as well, so he had to take on a lot of the offensive responsibilities. So that's why his usage was as high as it was. And when we go over the film, you'll see that he is not shy about taking that shot. So we'll see what happens to his usage this year with the Magic. The bottom section there is from the website Cleaning the Glass. And what they do is they show the percentile of the stats for each position grouping. So for Desmond, because Desmond was a shooting guard, small forward last year, he's considered a wing. So in his 69 games, for the usage, they have usage here on their site as 24.4%. That's in the 90th percentile of wings. So again, he was getting his shots up, or again, making that pass. So a lot of the offense was flowing through him in Memphis last year because of Ja's injuries. His points per shot attempt are in the 83rd percentile at 121.4. That's very good. That's something that, again, if you've watched the player profiles from other Magic players, that was not the case for many of them. His assist percentage is 23.6%, is on the 96th percentile. So when you watch the film, he doesn't really make incredible passes. He just does the right play all the time. So that's just how you're going to end up getting guys open. And for him, last year, he had pretty good shooters. So you would get the assist by just making the right play. That was really good to see, as well as his assist to usage ratio of 0.97 is in the 86th percentile, and his turnover percentage was at 12.7%, or the 35th percentile for wings. I think that's also because he had the ball in his hands so much, but turnovers hopefully is not contagious the way we turned the ball over last year, bringing him in as well. Hopefully Tyus is the yin to his yang on that. If we dive a little deeper into the four factors and team efficiency, again, these are team stats. If you don't know what the four factors are, I'll give you a quick explanation. Basketball is a difficult sport to play professionally. You got to be really tall, you got to have hand-eye coordination, you have to have agility. There's so many factors that go into it physically and mentally. But when it comes to stats, it's really broken down into four main factors. What kind of shots are you getting? And if you're getting good shots, and that's what the effective field goal percentage is trying to measure, whether you're turning the ball over and giving up possession too early, and that means that you don't have opportunities to score. That's what the turnover percentage is going over. And if you're controlling the rebounding offensively and defensively. So when you're on offense, it's showing the offensive rebounding percentage. And lastly, are you getting extra points at the free throw line? And that's what they focus on with the free throw rate. So those are the four factors. And obviously you're worrying about them on offense and on defense. So it ends up really being 8 factors. So let's go over his numbers for last year's efficiency with the team. He's in the 71st percentile in points per 100 possession difference, as we see there. So that's very good. But a lot of that is due to how well they played on offense. Per 100 possessions, they scored 118.4 points. That puts him in the 81st percentile of wings. They had an effective field goal percentage of 55%, which put him in the 71st percentile. They turned the ball over a little too much. Hopefully that's, again, not something that he brings to the Magic. They turned the ball over almost 15% of the times, putting him in the 39th percentile. They were able to control the boards, which is great. His offensive rebounding percentage is in the 81st percentile at almost 31%. And unfortunately, but for them, they didn't really get to the line very often. It puts him in the 49th percentile with a little under 19 free throw rate. Now on defense, they were middle of the pack. See, that's where the Magic really made up ground last year, because our defense was so good. So on the defensive end, their points per 100 possession with him on the court was in the 50th percentile. And that's what you saw as well with his steals and his blocks percentage. All of that stuff was basically 50%, 51st percentile. So I think that's something that was pretty consistent. At 115.1, he's in the 55th percentile with their effective field goal percentage at 54%. He's at the 51st percentile with 14%. They didn't really control the defensive glass, unfortunately. So a lot of teams were able to get on the offensive boards against them at just under 29%, putting him in the 36th percentile. And the other team was able to get to the free throw rate. That was the thing that the Magic did as well, because of all the fouling that the Magic did. They did it at the 21 rate, and I put him in the 26th percentile. Now, if we look at the things that he excelled at on offense, if you see many of my player profiles, many of the Magic players might have had one or two little sections here, but he's got three sections on offense because he's not just a shooter. So to look at his pick and roll handler stats, he was in the 70th percentile when it came to scoring there. The frequency, 22.7%, is pretty high, so that's good. He scored 0.93 points per possession. That again puts him in the 70th percentile. When he cut, he was in the 61st percentile. He didn't cut as often. He was launching. So again, we'll look at that and we'll see that on the film. With a frequency of 4.5, he scored 1.34 points per possession. And the off screen is where he really excelled. Didn't have a high frequency at 5.5, but he scored 1.30 points per possession, putting him in the 91st percentile if you round up. And I know the big concern about losing KCP was on the defensive end, and we really didn't want to lose too much on the defensive end. And that's, if you look at all the names that have been bandied about for the Magic, it would have been almost all offense, no defense. At least here we're able to see that there is some defense with Desmond Bane. He's not going to be a negative on the defensive end. So if we look at the defensive field goal percentage at 43.4% versus 46.2%, their regular field goal percentage shows a difference of negative 2.8. So that just again shows that he is going to guard. He is a willing defender, and that's something that we're not going to lose out too much on. Now let's look at how he scored. So even though we're bringing him in for his 3-point shot, we see that he still shot the majority of his shots from 2-point range, shooting about 59% of his shots from 2-point range, and that puts it at 41% from 3-point range, which means that most of his points ended up coming from 2-point range at about 50%, and about 37% came from 3-point range. Now, the fast break points, as we see, 18% of his points came from fast break, because that's going to be something that he will bring from Memphis. And we'll see it coming up in the film that he definitely pushes the pace, and he's shooting pretty early in the shot clock at times. So it's definitely a much more fast-paced offense that he was in last year. And then hopefully the Magic start playing much faster this year as well. If we look at his shot distance, it's rare that you see somebody shooting as well as he is all the way through. And even from the 3-point line, while he wasn't at over 40% as he is in basically every other area, you see that this guy can shoot. So at the rim, 72% from 3 feet to 10 feet, well, 48% from 10 feet to 16 feet, about 41% from 16 feet to 3-point range, 44%. And then lastly, from 3-point range, he shot about 39%, which is pretty low for him. And then if we look at the bottom, his dunks didn't have many dunks except for the breakaway ones, obviously. So he had only 5 dunks, but still, he made all 5. 41% overall on his jump shots, which includes all his mid-range and his 3-point shot. And then layups at 61%, which is pretty good. And again, you're going to see how he bounces off bigger defenders to be able to get his shot up when he is in the paint. So now let's go forward and check out his video. So we're going to start off with his 3-point shots. That's obviously why the Magic went out and got him, is to shoot threes. So here we are starting off with his threes from the left side. So surprisingly, he didn't shoot as well in the corners as he did above the break. That's just, most guys shoot better from the corners, but that's not Desmond. So that's good. That means he doesn't have to stay out in the corners. We can perch some other guys out there in the corners for them to shoot better. Not to say he can't shoot from the corner, as you see. He's able to still hit a good amount of them because that's what he does. Now he's still messed up there. Just wasn't at as a high a percentage as it is above the break. A lot of step backs. Now he has to create separation It's because he's not a small guy, as you see, 6'5", but I think because of his wingspan, there's a lot of times where he does need to create separation as if he was a bit smaller. So you see a lot of step backs from him. Jokingly say that he creates body diversity on the team because the Magic are notorious for just bringing in long guys. So now we've got a little bit more of a bowling ball style here. And we've brought in Tyus and Jace, who are a bit shorter. So we have a little more diversity there. Now, above the break, this is where he made his bones. Above the break. And even though he shoots in the 40%, that obviously means that he still misses more than he makes. But just to see how fluid he's able to get the shots up. He's one that it also has to go with shot selection. And I mentioned it in the last couple of videos that it's not just the form, it's just not the way you get the shots up, it's shot selection. So like here, he has a hand in his face. Like when it depends on your role in that game. Now, for Paolo and Franz, it was often that they had to shoot those type of shots and shots late in the shot clock. This year, hopefully Desmond isn't going to have to shoot that many shots while on the move. He can just stay in one spot. Obviously, we're not going to limit him into one thing or another, but see, he just takes one step and shoots. Here, same thing. There's a guy in his face, misses that one. His feet aren't necessarily set. Now, he doesn't need his feet set because he's such a good shooter. He's not Curry, of course. No one's Curry, but you can see like he just kind of while in motion, he still is able to get into the good shooting pocket and hit deep threes as well. That one's a logo three. Here's another one, basically a logo three. If we get that kind of range, hopefully he's able to bring that to the Magic. But when he steps right into it, when he's open, hopefully that's the type of shot he's going to get very often. But you see here, just walks right into one right off the break. And there's that. When he's in action, again, he can hit any shot. But if he gets set, that's going to be the way that he's going to be the most successful. Hand in his face on that one, he missed it. And hopefully he's going to be able to not have to shoot over a lot of guys. He's going to be wide open like this one in motion. Splash. Another one wide open. He's going to miss this one. But as long as he makes more than he takes of those wide open ones. See, now that's a shot selection issue. It's late in the game. They're down 3, so he wanted to get the shot up, and that's understandable. But they had to have had a better play ready for him to take on that shot. As we see, everyone is in the paint there, other than a one-on-one shot. So hopefully we're able to scheme up some good plays for him, even if it's in these late game situations, so that he has a nice open shot because this guy's shot is wet. Again, yeah, nice and easy. Turn around. Missed that one. Again, Flyby King was his nickname, so that's something that we'll see a lot because of his high percentage. People are going to be closing hard on him, so that's when he's going to be attacking the closeout, and we'll see that coming up soon in the film. But you see, 18 on the shot clock. I feel that they pivoted away from Jet being this type of shooter, someone that with 20 seconds left in the shot clock, with 18 seconds left in the shot clock, right, coming off of a turnover or trying to convert on the other end, where they're just going to immediately have the ball and shoot it. And they pivoted away from that since it didn't seem like that's going to happen soon enough for their timeline of competing. So we ended up getting Desmond instead, and that's his thing. Early shot clock shots. He's ready to go. He's ready to shoot. So now from the right corner, again, the corners, he didn't shoot as well as he has had from the break last year. So let's hope that he's able to remedy that. If in the end he shoots shots from the corner, who knows the way the offense is going to run this year. We hope that generally speaking, there's going to be more opportunities for guys to shoot from the corner. because a lot of guys shot okay percentages from three. They just for whatever reason didn't have that many shots up from the corner. So I think that's going to be the thing that hopefully the geometry of the offense is going to allow for them to have more corner threes. That Paolo will shoot some more corner threes. Franz will shoot some more corner threes because at least in Franz's case, the corner three actually isn't a bad shot for him. He actually shot pretty well from the corners. It's just all the above the break shots that both of them are basically at under 30%. That's really what's hurting their averages. So hopefully they get a few more easier threes by shooting them from the corner, and now having another ball handler in Desmond in the starting lineup that just might help things out. Next are a couple clips that just show some of the troubles that at times he can have when it goes to taking the ball to the basket because of his lack of wingspan, I would say, or like these mutant wingspans. He's kind of a normal person in that way. He's a regular wingspan, but him not having the really long ones, that when he tries to take it to the basket one on one, that there'll be times where he does get his shot blocked. So here goes, takes on the guy. That one's a help defender one. Here, shot blocked there. This is why I say he also still has to be shifty. He can't just rely on super athleticism. He has to be smart. So he kind of has to be, yes, kind of has to play as if he was shorter to an extent because of his lack of wingspan. That's why. That's what I'm saying. He's got to be crafty. Shots like this. And this is what I say. You're going to see him bouncing off a lot of guys. So he's going to have to use the tools he does have at his disposal, his thickness and his muscles, to be able to be shifty and have counter moves like that to be able to get to the rim over these mutants that he plays against. So again, this one's against the Magic. But because he has such a high percentage from three, people are going to have to always be on him. So that's going to free things up for the Magic inside, which is going to be great. Let me see on that one. Missed on those. But see the gravity that he has. These are games without Jaw, so that ends up being the scouting report. Everybody's got to go up against Desmond now with Paolo and Franz in the fold. He's going to be open a lot more, I think, or he's not going to be open, and that's going to help out Paolo and Franz on the inside. But see, look at this. Straight takes the ball, rebounds, takes the ball all the way down, and scores. He's going to be around. Like we showed earlier, cutting, he scores at a good clip as well. If they do forget about him, he'll make them pay. He makes the right basketball decision. I think that's the positive to see. Now he was in a different offense last year. So let's hope that the Magic are incorporating a lot of things that maybe him and Tyus talked about when they came over on the offensive end, as well as the addition of Joe Prunty as the assistant coach for offense. Hopefully that's going to free things up. So now this is some of his mid-range shots. That's a long two. And you're going to see a lot of stutter stops. So his movements can sometimes be a bit herky jerky because again he's got to create a little bit of space for him to be able to get some of these shots off. So I feel like him and Jace can really get a lot from him in how to get yourself open. And sometimes your teammates will be able to get you open. Nice solid screens, which we have a couple guys that can do that for them. So they'll be able to just be a bit more free to handle the ball and then get some daylight on their own. He's just a shooter. Now, on the passing front, so as we see here, as I mentioned, he's a lot of the times him and Tyus aren't necessarily going to be making the flashiest of plays. Now, it is surprising that he had such a high turnover percentage, and that's something that again he's not he's an additional ball handler, but he's not a true point. Right, so that's what Tyus is. That's what bringing in Tyus has done for the team. We actually have now a true point. So if there are times where we've turned the ball over 3 or 4 times, then Mose could just go over and ask Tyus to come into the game to try to settle things down, because that's what we need the most, really. So we need a bit of creativity, but we need people to just make the regular plays, make the right plays more often. And that's what I've talked about in a couple of my videos, especially for like Jalen and AB. They're just so excited at the different times that they're trying to make the most impressive play. But a lot of times you just got to make the simple play. Get the ball out to your shooter. You drive, get the ball out. Drive, get the ball out. Don't squeeze it into one of your bigs where there's 3 guys in the paint, especially because the Magic couldn't shoot last year. So these are the type of things that I'm talking about when it comes to Desmond. That hopefully he can cut down on his turnovers and just continue to pass the ball as he has when he was in Memphis. So again, here, nice simple play, nothing too crazy. Allow your guy to make the play. Again, nice little slip and roll here. The cutter does a good job of getting open. Just make the play. Here, another one. So he has good vision. He doesn't have elite vision, because this is something that had to be incorporated a bit more over the course of the season last year. So that's why he's now really accustomed to handling the ball more. It was kind of an added responsibility last year that he really started to excel in. And you just see, just get the ball out. Just get the ball out. Singles, as Mosley would say all the time. Singles, that's all you need. Singles, singles, singles. Get to the paint, spray the ball out, open guys. Now it's on the guys to hit it, and that's what helps your stats. So that's what we hope for. Our guys hitting more threes, so it's just going to help everybody's stats. Another one. Got to hit them shots though. But that's that. But that's the thing. I'm going to see him doing a good job of getting the guys open because of how much gravity he can pull in, especially now that he's been traded for such a haul. Then obviously that's put more of a target on him, or at least have people circle him on the scouting report. Like, all right, well, if we didn't know already, this guy is a big deal. Like that, for a team to give up as much as they did to get him, then we need to make sure that we're gonna keep an eye on him, and that's just gonna help out the rest of the team. Do a little bit of pick and roll and simple plays, as we see. A lot of these aren't spectacular plays, but they're effective, and that's what we need. We just need simple. Our guys are young. Our guys are excited. Our guys are trying to do great things. When that's what it is. Like it's hard to fault them for some of their turnovers, because they're learning as well as trying to do things for the team. But we need to we need to chill now. We need to calm, cool, and hopefully our guys just on their own are going to be that way. And pushing. This is the part that we're going to be looking for. Faster pace from what everybody's saying. We're going to play faster. So he's going to be pushing the ball up. He's going to push the ball with his feet. You're going to see him. He's going to grab the rebound. He's a pretty good rebounder. He had several double doubles last year with rebounding and several double doubles with assists. And I believe he had a triple double. He's a well-rounded guy. So you're going to see him getting a lot of rebounds from the shooting guard position. So that's great. And with Jalen getting as many as he did last year as well, then I think we're going to be pretty good at controlling the boards. So now on defense, there was a concern of giving up KCP by some people, just knowing the level of defense that KCP can bring, especially when Jalen went out, that KCP at least was able to give a certain level of defense still. And that's why the Magic were able to stay in the top 2 defensively. Now, the concern with him leaving is that, okay, we're bringing in a better offensive player, but now are we going to lose that much on defense? And I say no. He's a middle of the pack defender. He's not an excellent defender. I wouldn't. I don't think anybody's going to call him an excellent defender, but he's definitely a good defender, or at least he understands the schemes and he has a good frame on him, so they're not really going to post him up. He might get picked on at different points, maybe in playoff time, but with the defensive scheme that we have, I think we'll be able to definitely ensure that he is protected on that end as well. But again, he's a good defender. He's a positive or neutral defender. So that's really net wise, we're going to get so much better on offense that if we get a little bit lower on defense, I don't think that's going to be too detrimental. But you see here, he's going to compete. He comes over because he's a bigger frame guy. He's the one that's here now. He really, his guy, I think, is all the way in the corner there, wide open, but he still comes over, plays good team defense, is able to tie that one up. Same thing. He comes over. You can again, he can see that he knows where he's supposed to be. He looked like he was going to try to take a charge on Embiid there. He's a big dude, but I don't know if you want to do that. But again, with his quick hands, he was able to kind of bother the shot. Same thing. Like you got to see here, he sees the ball and he's going to try to dig down, or it's going to be on the ground. So we need that. We need everybody to do dirty work. I talked about in Wendell's player profile that he's that guy that's going to have to do all the dirty work for the starters. But our guys are dogs, especially Jalen and Desmond. They're going to get on the ground. They're going to fight for every loose ball. So as we see, that's something that he has in him as well. And again, gets in the passing lanes, not afraid to get in there, and effort. That's a lot of the time. That's all it is. Effort is when it comes to defense. It's just about positioning and making sure that you care enough to put in the work and don't quit on any play. As we see that there. So in the team concepts, I think he's going to excel on this team. A nice little block on that one there. So that's Desmond's film from last year. So obviously we gave up a lot for him. So he's going to have a big role this year. So I think the big wonder is if he's going to be that final piece to the puzzle, like we had in the 90s with Horace Grant coming in, like we had in the 2000s with Rashard Lewis coming in. Is he going to be that last piece to really bring the club up with a lot of young guys on it? That is he going to be the guy to come and just elevate everyone's energy? He's going to just allow us to be able to score more freely in the paint because of his 3-point shooting. That's going to be the question. I say yes, definitely. He is that guy. He's going to be the one to just open everything up, being able to handle the ball at times to give Franz and Paolo a bit of a breather. Franz is likely going to end up taking the first break, as he always has, and he'll play mostly with the bench unit, even though we have Tyus now. So maybe they decide to give Franz a little bit more rest time and just allow Tyus to run the second unit. And again, at least early on in the season, maybe see how the guys have developed over the course of the summer. Like, has Tristan made that leap due to his play in Summer League and in Eurobasket? Has AB been able to incorporate a better shot? So can JI and Goga play together, at least until Mo's back, right? Like all these little questions we have coming off the bench that maybe let Franz rest, have Tyus go in and handle the second unit. We'll see. But for the starting unit with Desmond, I think him either starting alongside Tyus or Jace or Jalen, I think just his ability to be a secondary ball handler, be able to go and set his teammates up the right way, just do the simple play, keep the ball moving all the way across, and then being ready to shoot, because he is always ready to shoot. Once he passes half court, he is ready to shoot. So that's going to be something that we'll hopefully be marveling at the depth of his shots and how often he's able to make them. Now, is the single season record for the Magic 3-pointers made in the season gonna be threatened this year? We'll see. 267 is the record by the original 3D in Orlando, Dennis Scott. So we'll see if the new 3DB Desmond Bane is going to be able to actually be the one to eclipse that and at least get over 200, because even going over 200 threes made in a season for the Magic hasn't been something that's happened too often. It's something that if he's able to stay healthy and he increases his attempts from 3-point range, he has a chance. He's shot 43% at least once in his career already. So that's what Dennis Scott shot that year from three. So it can be done. And in the NBA, every year now, there's somebody that made over 300 threes in a season. So we're not asking for 300 from him. We're just asking for 275 or 270. That's all we're looking for. That's all, right? Is that too much to ask from someone that you gave up so much for? But let's hope he stays healthy. And really, we need him for the playoffs. So if he ends up playing 69 games as he did last year, that's fine. That's not going to be a problem. It's just as long as he's healthy for the playoff runs, so that again his shooting is going to be a big thing that's going to help us. Now, defenses that he played in the playoffs in the past have been able to kind of limit him, especially when it comes to his ball handling. So hopefully Coach Shamgod is going to be able to get with him to tighten up his handles a little bit. But again, he's not the primary ball handler. So we have so many ball handlers on the starting lineup that it can be shared, and he can be mostly a drum shooter or a driver of the basket when they close hard, for him to be able to impact the team positively in that end. So for me, his role is 3-point specialist and the person that's going to be open often, especially when Paolo and Franz are taking up as much gravity as they are, and he's going to be there to punish the other team. So what do you think his role is going to be this year? How many 3-pointers do you think he's going to make this year? Drop those comments below. Let me know what you think. And as always, do the normal YouTube thing, share this video, hit that like, and if you're one to do so, hit that subscribe. We did pass the 200 subscriber mark, so thank you guys very much for that. So let's get to 250 by the end of the month. Let's see. Let's see if we can get there. Again, thank you very much for watching this video and spending a little bit of time talking magic with me. I hope you're having a great day.